In this episode, I'm breaking down why athletes tend to overthink during their games and give a couple of strategies how to stop and simplify. Because overthinking is one of the most common mental challenges that athletes come to me with. I see so many overthinking on the court, field, in the pool, wherever they're competing. And overthinking mid game happens when athletes are very worried about a future outcome or when they start to second guess their form, technique, and mechanics. And this applies to everybody. I mean, I'm sure so many people in their day-to-day lives can overthink their relationships or that one awkward situation that happened or overthink their next presentation at work. I'll give a couple of examples here, athletic examples to set the scene. So let's say a basketball player just made a turnover. He might be so worried about that turnover happening again to where now he's thinking about everything he can do to avoid another turnover. So he's thinking about his dribbling. He's really thinking about where his hands are. He's trying to get rid of it as fast as he can. And he's probably thinking, oh my gosh, what is coach thinking about? And he's worrying about getting pulled again if he makes another turnover. That is a lot going through someone's mind. I mean, there is no way that player is reading and reacting to the play in front of him and seeing the court clearly. He is completely internal, thinking about everything he can do to possibly avoid another turnover. He's not thinking about what he wants. And when athletes are starting to worry about making mistakes, it's so much more complicated versus just reading and reacting to the play in front of you. Their focus goes everywhere versus just locking in on one simple thing that they can do to create a play and get some points on the board. Besides being very avoidant and future focused, another relatable example where I see athletes overthinking a lot is their technique and mechanics. So let's say a tennis player just hit the ball out of bounds twice. Now they're thinking something might be wrong with their form. They start to fix it. They analyze, they try new things. Now they're thinking about their footwork, their positioning, what they're going to do the next time the ball comes to their forehand. They abandon what they know and they start to push the ball because they don't trust their form anymore, simply because they hit two balls out of bounds. The overthinking has taken over and now there are too many thoughts in their head. There's no way they're trusting their muscle memory and allowing their body to just do what they have been training it to do for years. I really like to give this analogy to my athletes. So let's say I'm working with an 18-year-old. So they've been walking for about 17 years if we start walking around one. So some might say that's a lot of time to work on your walking skills. They're probably very good at walking, maybe even a professional. I ask them, do you sometimes still trip over yourself? Yes. I mean, we all do that. So what do you do after that? And they're usually like, oh, well, I just laugh at myself and keep on going. Like, yeah, you don't all of a sudden question your years of walking experience and change your form and start picking your feet up all weird. You laugh, you pick yourself up, and you keep on walking. So just because you messed up once or twice doesn't mean you have to start questioning the years of experience you have. And game days are so fun because you just get to show up and play with what you have. You don't have to be really working and breaking down anything specific. If your serve is off, don't try to break it down and analyze it. Adapt. Use your second serve and figure out a way to win still even when your first serve is off. Let's get into our simple strategies. I have 4 ways to help you stop overthinking on the court. And these are very applicable. You might not resonate with all 4 of them. Try to find one that you really like. So my number 1 that I'm working with athletes on a lot is being adaptable. Let me explain that one. So if you are adapting, you're trying to find solutions and you're very focused on competing. For example, let's say someone is double teaming you. Maybe you are one of the best shooters on the team. You're used to getting a lot of points. Instead of dwelling on the fact that, well, I can't get my shot up as much, they're double teaming me, how unfair that is, you start looking to pass and drive in more. Let's say your first serve is off in tennis. Instead of trying to fix and analyze, you adapt and start using your second serve. It eliminates a lot of overthinking because you're solely focused on finding a way to win, not analyzing everything that might be going wrong. It keeps you locked in on competing and what's in front of you. You don't get all internal and start thinking about your mistakes and analyzing your technique. So to simplify that, I tell my athletes, adapt, don't judge. So number 1 is to be adaptable. Number 2 strategy to stop overthinking on the court is to talk to yourself like your great coach is talking to you. It's okay to be a little assertive up here. When you're in private lessons or one-on-ones, it's usually really hard to overthink because a coach is telling you something very specific to work on. Your focus is on one thing. And I want you to think about the best coach that you've ever had. Would they ever tell you that you suck or you shouldn't have made that mistake in the middle of your game? No, they would probably encourage you and tell you to get focused on the next play. So don't let the doubts and the worries trail off and snowball in your head like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. My team might be mad at me. Can't do that again. No, tell yourself to knock it off and focus on the next. It's okay to be firm and assertive up there in your mind. Stop listening to that little inner critic that we all have. That little inner critic that sits on our shoulders, likes to whisper all those doubts and worries. So talk to yourself. Don't listen. Strategy number 3 is to stop looking around everywhere. Narrow your eyes on what it is you want to be focused on. If your eyes are wandering, then chances are your focus is probably wandering too. That's why when we aren't looking at our teachers, coaches, parents, when they're talking to us, they can get really upset because they don't have our undivided attention. I can't believe I just said that. Undivided attention. I sound like an elementary school teacher. So every time when you look into the stands to find your parents or what the crowd is looking like, your focus goes that way. Even if you think a half a second glance isn't a big deal, the problem with that is now it takes you a really long time to get back into a focused state. So keep your eyes between the lines. If you can take control of that, of where your gaze is, then you will start to feel more in control of everything else. So stop looking around everywhere. And simple strategy number 4, write something down. Sometimes when our emotions get high and thoughts are flowing, it's hard to be like, what did Georgia tell me to think about again? I get it. What I have a lot of my tennis golfers, baseball and softball players do is write down a little reset card. And this reset card has reminders, cues, phrases, verses that their rational self wrote down so they can look at it and ground them back down when they start to overthink or get irrational in the moment. So it really helps to have something tangible to physically hold and look at. That way you can take control back and refocus on one simple thing, because sometimes emotions might get in the way of you being able to do that. Reminds you of what is true and right. So to summarize, the 4 simple things to help you stop overthinking on the court. Try 1, adapt, don't judge. 2, talk to yourself like your great coach is talking to you. 3, stop looking around everywhere. Keep your eyes between the lines. And 4, write it down, something rational for your future emotional self. So thank you for tuning in, y'all. For more one-on-one sports psych help with your overthinking, reach out to my email. It's in the show notes. Or we can set up a free consult to make sure this is a good fit for you. We'll see you next week.